God save the Queen. It's Tuesday for HyperDoc Hangouts on air, and we are so excited to have a special guest today. Lisa Highfill is here hosting. Sarah Landis is here hosting and helping out with questions. And I'm Kelly Hilton, and our special guest is Kendra Tyler.
Hello.
History buff, history teacher. That's why we had God Save the Queen on for her. She's also a TOSA in Corning, California, and she's been an incredible share with HyperDocs. Today, we're going to be highlighting not only Kendra, but two of her students as well, Francisca and Angela, and they're going to be sharing their projects. We're going to be focusing on collaborative HyperDocs today. So welcome, Kendra.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, we're so glad to have you. So Kendra is known for a wonderful blog that she has out there. If you haven't seen her blog, it's called Teaching Without a Quill, because she's a history teacher, and we'll put that in the chat. It's www.teachingwithoutatquill.wordpress.com. And all of the resources that we're talking about today are on that blog, as well as many more. But Kendra, if you could start telling us a little bit about where you heard about HyperDocs and what led you to doing this first project that we're going to be sharing.
Yeah, so the first time I heard about HyperDocs, I saw Lisa at a Google Summit in Chico. I thought the idea was really cool, but I don't know if I fully understood what it could be until I started to make my own. I saw like, oh, I could, instead of just posting all my YouTube videos on Google Classroom, I could like put it all in one document, and then I don't know, that was really my thought process. Like, it's going to be easier to organize things. And then I really started making my own, and I just fell in love with them, and it's become something that we use so often, as students are going to tell you. They're probably sick of them by now, but, oh, they're saying no. That's good.
That is so great. I think it's true. There's this transition from learning about HyperDocs to, oh, I can actually package everything up together, and then you can really have the learning experience from start to finish for your students and see their thinking and their work. So Kendra, you're known for an incredible blog post that you wrote about collaboration on HyperDocs, and I know you have an example to share with us. So I'm going to start screen sharing, and I believe we're going to be looking at the Shark Tank HyperDoc. Can you set that up for us?
Yes. Okay, so the Shark Tank HyperDoc is my favorite. This is a project that we did, but if you look at the first page, you're going to see what just looks kind of like a note-taking, like a guided note. In history, some of our standards are that we need to teach the inventions of the Industrial Revolution, and the way that I had kids do it was they would click each hyperlink, and it would just take them to a really brief summary about what these inventions were. So they would do that. They would take a couple notes just to kind of get a really, really small idea of what each invention was. Then, and they couldn't move on with their partner or their group until they did this. So, okay, can you see it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so started with just clicking these links, and kids took some notes. The part of it that I love is that the kids couldn't fill out their Google form on what sort of invention they want as their first, second, or third choice for their group project until they finish the notes. So I found kids that that necessarily wouldn't really be working super hard on their notes, kind of racing to finish taking their notes because they wanted to be able to choose their group and they wanted to be able to get the invention that they wanted to get. I've loved having Google Forms as a way for students to choose who their partners would be and what inventions they would do, or just having groups chosen kind of for them, but also by them using Google Forms. So I've loved that. Are you tracking with me, everybody? Can everybody see so?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so after I looked at all the kids' Google Forms, they were put into groups and they got the invention that they wanted, and then they started doing some group stuff. So here you can see that they had to complete a research guided question document before they could even start making what they would want to make. So if you look here, the kids would watch a pitch from Shark Tank using this link, which was just a simple YouTube video. And as a group, they would get together they would watch the video and they would discuss some of the things that they saw. So now we have that collaboration piece before they're even working together as a group. I guess, yeah, the next thing that they did was they started planning their projects. So a student opened up a document, shared it with everybody in their group, and they got to work. Finally, they made their presentation using one of these apps. I had some people find new apps that they wanted to use and use those instead. But it was amazing because the end product was just these amazing presentations from kids to real community members that came in and just attacked them. It was just so much like Shark Tank. It was awesome.
That is so fun.
Yeah, it really was. And the HyperDoc just allows it to be so organized, and it just makes my life easier, and it gives some accountability to the kids where they really do have to do their notes, and they do need to participate in their group. They can't get away with just having a free ride, you know?
Yeah, and Kendra, if you could like talk us through those different parts again on your, not all of them, but the first part is really setting it up as doing research, right? So they, with the HyperDoc, you've curated a lot of opportunities for them to research different, you know, have mentor texts essentially for that.
Yeah, and sometimes those are videos, sometimes those are PDFs, sometimes they're links. Yeah, I always have them do something in the beginning that they have to show that they understand before they get into the group.
Right, which is sort of like a multimedia text set beginning.
Yes.
And then they moved into the application. And so it looks like you had an area for them to collaborate and share their thinking collaboratively on the HyperDoc, and then also choices, because you had lots of different tools available for the application.
Yes, so Google Forms is an easy way to do that, to allow students to choose. But I think it's important that they still get all the standards. I think sometimes we've been taught, like, let's jigsaw things, and then students really don't learn everything they're supposed to learn. So making sure they do the individual stuff in the beginning.
Right. And then you had the blended learning component where they actually had to share their thinking in that sense with the community members, right?
It's like awesome, yeah. So students came up, they presented, what do you think, girls, 5 or 6 minutes? Yeah. About 5 or 6 minutes, and they answered questions, they presented, and then the sharks just grilled them. So it was, I even used Google Forms and a HyperDoc that I sent out to the sharks that they had some sample questions that they could use, and they were supposed to watch a little Shark Tank video so they knew how to act.
Right, that is so fun. Okay, well, let's, if we can, talk to the girls a little bit about some of the work that they've been doing.
Okay, so I'm going to transfer you over to the girls here. They're going to speak super loud.
Hi, girls. Can you introduce yourselves again? We have Francisco and Angela.
Hi, I'm Francisco. And I'm Angela.
Hi, guys. Can you tell us a little bit about your Shark Tank project?
Okay, my group, we did the Model T, and well, I think it was pretty fair because usually people, they just have one person do all the work in the group. And with that, what we did was we separated the work into, like, between each other. So that way it was like fair for everyone, and that way it kind of made it fun.
Can you say that one more time for me, just a little bit louder so we can hear your thinking?
Okay, what my favorite part was how we separated the work into, like, between ourselves, so not one person got stuck doing all the work while everyone laughed off. So we all had to do the equal amount of work so we can all, like, understand.
That's so important in a group project, right? And with the HyperDoc, were you able to see what your partners were doing as well, and then work in your independent section of the HyperDoc as well?
Yeah. So we can make it competitive.
Great. I think we can hear you guys really well when you turn the screen to one-on-one. So thank you for doing that. I think that really helps. Great. What else did you want to add about what it was like working on this group project, or maybe presenting your presentation? What did you feel proud about? What was challenging?
So what was it like to present? Like when you were up there, what was hard? What was
It was kind of nerve-wracking because these people, they're like professionals from around from like our community, and it's like people like they're kind of like hard on us because they're like throwing really hard questions that we have to answer, and it was like an on-the-spot kind of thing, so we didn't really have everything prepared.
Right. So all that work you did beforehand prepared you, but you had that authentic audience at the time. Were you a little nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. But that's good. Did you feel proud of yourself when you were done?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. I think we have the screen share worked out. Did you want me to share some of their work as well?
Yeah, let's share the reform products, and we can hear from Angela because that's hers that I gave you.
Okay, here's Kendra's blog, Teaching Without a Quill, and then we're going to be sharing, here's her HyperDoc. Was it the video, did you say, Kendra, or this one?
I can show the HyperDoc first.
This one? Which one did you want?
It's Reform Partner PSA project.
There we go.
Okay. So I'm just going to briefly talk about what it is, and then I'll hand it over to Angela. This is hers, actually. So this is a completed student project. In the beginning, again, it's that same idea that students needed to look up what a reform was. They figure out what the difference is between a reform and a reformer, and then they picked a reform movement that they wanted to focus on. So, temperance, prison, schools, abolition, and women's rights. They took some notes, and then you can see at the bottom, down at part 3, that Angela and her partner Francisca chose a reform movement, and they made a public service announcement. So I don't want to say that this is I made this HyperDoc, but I also took half of it from another HyperDoc that I had seen on public service announcements. So what's awesome about HyperDocs is that I've been sharing with a lot of people, and I've been receiving a lot back. So it was cool to be able to take this public service announcement idea and roll with it and make something that I could use in my own class. So I'm going to just have Angela talk about what it's like to go through and do the individual part before they got into groups. So, Angela, this is your HyperDoc. What do you like about doing HyperDocs on your own in the beginning?
What I like about doing HyperDocs on our own in the beginning is that it's sort of guided for what we have to fill out in the HyperDoc, so that we aren't just rushing around trying to figure out what we're supposed to do. It's sort of all there in the HyperDoc set for what we have to do.
That's great. Did you feel like when you were done, you could show your parents in your Google Classroom like what was in there from start to finish, your entire project? And there's no missing papers or anything like that. You could really show them the learning and the thinking you did leading up to your final project?
It's much easier to pull it up on the computer instead of searching through textbooks or papers, figuring out which papers it is.
Right. That's a great point. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So what the girls did afterwards is they made that video that I sent you. So that was kind of their finished product, and they made it together. So if we wanted to show that, we could do that.
Absolutely. Let's get
we
that.
don't need to show the whole thing, but just so they kind of get an idea of what they made. And this was like a 4 or 5 day project, so it took about 2 days to do on their own notes and everything, and then they had about 3 days to gather all the information and then just make a quick video. So this didn't take like a super long time.
Great. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and play it too. Wow, great job, girls. That was incredible. And it looks like you used WeVideo for that.
Yes.
And how is it using that tool?
It was difficult at first because we didn't really know the layout of the app and what to actually do. But once we started exploring around with it, it was easy.
Great. So it seems like your teacher's been providing opportunities for you guys to create things and do things that we couldn't previously do before we had access to these tools, such as creating movies. She's also giving you opportunities to collaborate together and share your ideas and really think critically about the concepts in history and what's really going on. As she mentioned, it's just really about the good teaching behind the delivery of instruction with the HyperDocs. So I love the work that you're doing. You could even take those and connect with other classrooms. You're doing all of those things that we love to see in classrooms these days. So really proud to see that work that you've done. Thank you for sharing everything today. Kendra, is there anything else you wanted to add?
I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. If anybody wants to see that end of the year thing we're doing right now, the National Treasure one, that's just kind of a different kind of assignment. We wanted to end with that.
Absolutely. And that's the one is on your blog right now, correct?
Yeah, I just blogged about how I use movies in the classroom at the end of the year. I think some people are a little bit hesitant to do that, but we're doing an assignment right now where we're looking at National Treasure, the movie, and they are just kind of researching what is historically true and what is historically false, and just kind of being good researchers and making sure that's kind of like a lifestyle. We talked about Snopes.com today and what's real and what's fake and how we have to like constantly be on the lookout. So it's kind of a fun way to do that.
Absolutely. What a great way to end the school year.
Yeah.
We'll put that link in your resources, Kendra. Unless, did you want to screen share that right now or you want to add it in?
I don't have it open, so we'll just add that to the conversation.
Add that into your resources, and we'll make sure we direct people to your blog. And we really want to thank you and your students for sharing all your resources and learning with us today.
Yeah.
Questions?
No, I think it's great. I'm curious, one last comment maybe from your students about, how has learning changed for them since they started
that's a
learning?
Great question. I'll have Francisca answer that one.
I think it changed a lot because it was always harder to go from, like, on the textbooks, having to find pages, like Angela said, having to find the pages and figure out what goes where. And then from going online, it helped stay really organized because you know where everything went and everything's saved, so we didn't have to like have a problem whether you lost it or not. I know it just automatically saved. It helped me stay organized too.
That's great. So we'll have all the links to the work you've been doing posted under the HyperDocs on Air video, and we'll probably be putting those in the Facebook group.
Yeah, we'll be linking up Kendra's resources on the HyperDocs Facebook group, where we have all of the episodes of HyperDoc Hangouts on Air. And we'll also be sharing the resources on Google Plus and at Teachers Give Teachers. We'll be here next Tuesday. If you're interested in learning more about HyperDocs, there's a HyperDoc handbook coming out in a couple of weeks. Really